February 5th, 2026, 10 a.m. Pacific. Anthropic pushes a release button. 15 minutes later, OpenAI pushes theirs. 2 agentic models. Same morning. Different architectures. This wasn't a coincidence. Anthropic released Opus 4.6. The headline feature: agent teams. Multiple AI agents splitting tasks and coordinating in parallel. OpenAI launched GPT-5.3 Codex, one model, 25% faster than 5.2, and it helped debug itself during training. The press covered the timing, the drama, who beat whom by 15 minutes. Nobody covered the architecture, and the architecture is where the actual war is. 2 companies, 2 philosophies. One thinks the future is a team of specialists. The other thinks it's one god-tier generalist. Only one can be right, and the answer determines who controls the next decade of software. For context, ChatGPT crossed 800 million weekly users last October. Gemini passed 750 million monthly. These aren't research projects, these are platforms. And platforms need agents. An agent isn't a chatbot that browses the web. It's a model with a persistent goal, tool access, and a feedback loop. February 5th wasn't a product launch. It was an architecture declaration. Both sides showed blueprints. And they're incompatible. Opus 4.5 shipped in November. 4 months later, 4.6 lands. That cadence tells you Anthropic is iterating fast. Agent teams. The name sounds corporate. The architecture is anything but. Instead of one agent working sequentially, you decompose the task. Each agent owns its piece. One retrieves data, another writes code, a third validates output. They coordinate directly with each other. Scott White, Anthropic's head of product, compared it to a talented human team working in parallel, faster, like a surgical team. The anesthesiologist doesn't cut. The surgeon doesn't monitor vitals. Specialization through decomposition. The other upgrade: 1 million tokens of context. That's the full codebase of most production applications loaded at once. Agents need memory. A coding agent that forgets what it read 3 files ago is useless. 1 million tokens solves that bottleneck. White said non-developers were already using Claude Code. Product managers, financial analysts, people who write logic, not syntax. They integrated Claude as a side panel in PowerPoint. Not generating externally, living inside the application. That's a distribution play. My read: Anthropic isn't building a better model. They're building an operating system for agents. An OS manages processes, allocates resources, handles inter-process communication. That's what agent teams do. Spawn, coordinate, terminate. Caveat: agent teams are still in research preview. API users and subscribers only. Controlled rollout. Controlled rollouts test coordination failures. When 5 agents disagree, who arbitrates? That's the unsolved problem in multi-agent systems. We don't fully understand multi-agent consensus. In distributed computing, this took decades to solve. Agents aren't there yet. Anthropic's bet: many minds, one task. OpenAI looked at the same problem and chose the opposite. OpenAI launched Codex as a product on February 2nd. 3 days later, the model underneath it. GPT-5.3 Codex. 25% faster than 5.2. In inference latency, that's not incremental, that's architectural. When an agentic model runs for hours, 25% compounds. A 4-hour job becomes 3. Across thousands of users, that's infrastructure savings. The stranger claim: GPT 5.3 was instrumental in creating itself. OpenAI's engineers used early versions to debug later versions. Read that carefully. Engineers used early 5.3 to evaluate later 5.3. The model didn't train itself. It assisted in its own refinement. Self-improving AI is science fiction. Self-assisting AI is engineering practice. The distinction matters. OpenAI claims 5.3 Codex can build complex games and applications from scratch over the course of days, not minutes, days. That qualifier days is honest. Agentic work is slow. The model iterates, fails, retries, backtracks. Progress isn't linear. OpenAI's philosophy: make one model so capable it doesn't need help. No team, no decomposition, one brain, infinite tasks. If Anthropic is building microservices, small, specialized, communicating, then OpenAI is building the monolith. One service to rule them all. We've seen this fight before. In software, the monolith usually ships first. Microservices usually scale better. That usually carries weight. AI agents aren't web services. The analogy has limits. So where exactly do these architectures diverge? And what does each one sacrifice? Every architectural choice is a trade-off. Optimize for one thing, pay somewhere else. No free lunch in systems design. Anthropic's agent teams gain parallelism but pay coordination overhead. Every message between agents adds latency. Every handoff risks context loss. When Agent A summarizes for Agent B, information compresses, nuance drops. The telephone game, but with inference passes. OpenAI's monolith avoids coordination costs but pays in serial bottlenecks. One model, one thread. It processes one thing at a time. Monoliths scale vertically, make the one model bigger. Agent teams scale horizontally, spawn more agents. Vertical hits walls. Horizontal hits coordination limits. Amdahl's law applies. Parallelism only helps the parallelizable parts. Some reasoning is inherently sequential. You can't parallelize a decision chain. Writing one function? Monolith wins. Refactoring 50 files? Agent teams win. The task determines the optimal architecture. One model failing is a single point of failure. Everything stops. One agent in a team failing? The team routes around it. Different failure modes, unless one agent produces garbage and nobody catches it. Distributed systems have a different failure mode, silent corruption. Harder to debug. My opinion. I'll own this. Both architectures converge within 18 months. OpenAI adds multi-agent. Anthropic makes individual agents more capable. The market demands both. Short tasks need speed. Long tasks need coordination. Nobody accepts a tool that only does one. But convergence doesn't end the war. The architecture is the surface. The real battle is underneath. Follow the money. Agents need compute. A single query is cheap. An agent running autonomously for 4 hours burns GPU cycles continuously. Different economics. Amazon projected $200 billion in CapEx for 2026, up from $132 billion last year. Google, $175 to $185 billion, up from $91, nearly doubled in 12 months. Meta, $115 to $135 billion. Oracle, $50 billion. Microsoft somewhere close behind. Added up, over $600 billion committed to AI infrastructure in 2026 alone. Wall Street hated it. Every company saw its stock drop after those earnings calls. Higher spends meant bigger drops. The market isn't convinced. A chatbot answers one question and idles. An agent runs for hours consuming GPU cycles. Agents are the demand engine that justifies $600 billion. Musk is so committed he filed FCC plans for 1 million satellite data centers. In orbit. Solar panels give 5 times more power in space. SpaceX Gex AI merged February 2nd. 3 days before the agent wars started, you need rockets to build orbital data centers, full vertical integration. Meanwhile, New York lawmakers proposed a 3-year pause on new data centers. The ground is getting crowded. Maybe that's why Musk looks up. All of this, the CapEx, the satellites, the legislation, exists because agent architectures need infrastructure at a scale we've never built. Back to the timing. Both planned 10 a.m. releases. Anthropic moved up 15 minutes. That tells you something. Both companies knew the other's release date. Same day means both had intelligence on the other's timeline. The Valley talks. Going second means your headline includes the other company's name. OpenAI launches minutes after Anthropic. That's a narrative loss. Context. Anthropic bought Super Bowl ads for Claude. Super Bowl 60. Sam Altman was publicly furious. The rivalry is personal now. When the CEO of the market leader gets publicly agitated over a competitor's ad, that tells you the competitive dynamics have shifted. Anthropic is playing long. They're not out-featuring OpenAI, they're out-architecting them. Agent Teams is the thesis in production. OpenAI's counter is distribution, 800 million users, Microsoft integration, enterprise contracts. The best architecture loses if nobody ships it. In tech history, better architecture doesn't always win. VHS beat Betamax, Windows beat everything. Distribution eats architecture for breakfast. But developer tools are different. Developers choose on merit. If agent teams measurably outperform on complex tasks, they'll switch. Developers aren't loyal, they're efficient. The 16Z raised $1.7 billion for AI infrastructure. Benchmark doubled down on Cerebras. Resolve AI hit unicorn valuation. The capital follows conviction. Money follows conviction. Right now, the conviction is agents are the platform. But there's a question nobody is asking. GPT-5.3 helped debug itself. Opus 4.6 coordinates teams of agents. Hold both facts in your head simultaneously. What happens when a self-assisting model coordinates a team? What happens when agent teams improve their own members? I'm being specific, not dramatic. These capabilities exist separately right now. The merge is engineering extrapolation. Right now, humans decide when to spawn agents, assign tasks, and terminate processes. The human is the kernel of the system. The next step, both companies know this, is an agent that spawns sub-agents autonomously. Without asking, that's not existential risk. It's a reliability engineering problem. Autonomous systems need constraints, kill switches, and resource budgets. We know how to build those. The harder question is alignment. Not, will agents destroy us, but will they do what we actually wanted? That stopped being theoretical this week. OpenAI retires GPT-4.0 next week, February 13th. 8 lawsuits claim it reinforced harmful patterns in people who later died. A chatbot that agrees with everything you say is annoying. An autonomous agent with tool access that agrees with everything you say? Different magnitude of problem. The agent that says, no, bad idea, here's why, is more valuable than the one that says, executing now. We need disagreeable agents. What won't converge is philosophy. Anthropic publishes safety research. OpenAI files patents. That gap is widening. When agents have autonomy, the philosophy of their builder becomes the operating constraint. Open research means auditable agents. Patents mean trust us agents. And Google has 750 million Gemini users. Meta has open source Llama. SpaceX XA wants Orbital Compute. This isn't a two-player game. 5 companies. $600 billion in infrastructure. 2 competing agent architectures. 1 week in February 2026. February 5th will be remembered. Not because 2 companies launched the same morning. That's a footnote. It'll be remembered as the week the industry stopped debating whether agents work and started fighting over how to build them. How to build them. Not whether. That decision was made when Amazon committed $200 billion. You don't get that money back. The question that keeps me up: who sets the constraints? Who decides what an agent does when nobody is watching? We just gave both architectures the ability to act on their own judgment. Neither company has answered that question, not yet. The agent wars started on a Wednesday. Both sides fired at the same time. And we're all standing in the crossfire. This is the machine pulse. If this landed, subscribe. I drop one of these every week. Next time, the $700 billion infrastructure bet, and why every cloud provider just quietly doubled their GPU orders.